Ah, I do believe. Okay, let's get this party started, shall we? Let's get this party started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's webinar. I am Natasha Tomlinson here in Arizona, and just welcoming you to tonight's webinar. Just give it a moment or two for other folks to chime in, and then we will be on our way. It's a few seconds. Make sure we have audio. We have audio. Fabulous. We have video. Could do without it, but that'll work. Okay, and just get a few things up here for you guys to look at so you have an understanding of where we are in the Arizona real estate market at this time. My system is thinking. It's thinking hard. It's thinking hard today. Look at that. I'm going to do that layout, maybe. I'm going to do that layout. There you go. And yes, fabulous. Now, without further ado, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to tonight's webinar, 7 Ways to Sell Your Arizona Home in 2026. If you're here tonight, you may be thinking about selling it sometime in the foreseeable future, or you're at least wondering what your options are. So let me just say this up front. Most homeowners are only aware of one way to sell their home, to sell their property. And tonight, we are going to give an overview of 7 different ways that are available to you in Arizona to sell your property. So some of these strategies could potentially put more money in your pocket. It could help you sell faster or even create income after the sale. So Arizona homeowners, you are in the right place. Question. This webinar is for you if you are considering relocating, if you are managing an inherited property, if you are exploring your options or just thinking about downsizing at this time, or maybe you plan to sell in the next 6 to 12 months. Even if you are just curious, tonight the goal is to give you clarity. I've been in real estate since 2005, and what I've learned during that time is this. The biggest mistake that homeowners make is choosing a strategy before understanding what options are available to them. My goal tonight is simple. It's to give you an overview of your options and so you can make the best decision for you and your particular situation and ultimately your timing. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening right now in the greater Phoenix metro area in our real estate market. In many areas across greater Phoenix, we are seeing more inventory, we're seeing longer days on market, and we're seeing buyers negotiating again when looking at resale. And there's inventory looking at the resale market and also looking at new home construction. We currently have multiple cities in a buyer's market, and buyer's market is where there's more inventory than ready, willing, and able buyers looking in that area. And in some areas, we have more balanced conditions. What does this mean for you as a seller? It means that pricing matters now more than ever. Strategy matters also more than ever. And marketing matters now more than ever. Now, let's talk a bit about interest rates. I know people are a little tired of talking about interest rates and blaming interest rates, but it's a factor. So we're going to talk about it. When rates go up, buyers lose purchasing power, right? And fewer buyers qualify and demand softens. When rates go down, interest rates go down, more buyers tend to enter the market. Competition increases. So you're like, okay, what does that mean? It means your home value could be affected because it's ultimately tied to buyer affordability. So now that you have some understanding of that, let's talk a little bit about what you really came here for, right? You came here to understand, okay, you said there's 7 ways that I can sell my house. Let's talk about it. What are those 7 ways? Well, way one would be the traditional MLS sale, the traditional listing service, right? This is the most common option for homeowners. You list your home for sale, you market it, it sells to the highest buyer, right? I mean, that's what you hope for. It is best for those who are that are not in a rush. You don't need it sold tomorrow. You want full exposure. You're trying to maximize the price. But the truth is, there are showings, there could be repairs, negotiation, and timing is a bit of an uncertainty. It's an unknown in the traditional listing scenario. Option two is the instant cash offer. Now, you've seen the billboards around town, right? You've heard about this. Maybe you've received a postcard or two, maybe a text message or letter in the mail. I know I have, looking about and talking about these instant cash offers that are available to you. And this is more if speed and convenience is of the utmost importance to you. It is best for quick sales, possibly distressed properties, possibly inherited homes. And the pros of an instant cash offer are obvious. It's fast, right? It's instant, it's quick. There are fewer contingencies because it's cash. So you don't have the loan contingency. You don't have an appraisal contingency a lot of times. There is still an inspection in the majority of cases. Always read that fine print. But again, it tends to be a faster transaction. The trade-off, as there's always a trade-off, is the lower price. So it just matters. Does that make sense for you and your timing? Then we have the cash offer plus, and this is where things get interesting, right? Cash offer plus is part immediate cash and part market exposure, right? Seemingly the best of both worlds. You can get a guaranteed baseline cash offer, still test the market, reduce your risk. And this is one of the most popular strategies in today's market because you're getting upfront cash. And then when the home sells in the open market, the profit that's realized goes to you, not the investor, right? So there's cash offer plus, and then there's cash offer plus repairs. And it just really depends on what the general condition of your property is and what your needs are in regards to the home sale. Option four, way number four of selling your home in today's market would be the loan assumption. And this would be if you have a VA loan or an FHA loan. Now, these are still hidden gems because I don't know if you just remember a few years ago, people were getting interest rates in the twos, threes, fours, right? Which is very advantageous to today's home buyer. So these again are hidden gems in our market. If you have a low interest rate, a buyer may be able to assume your loan. Now, they have to qualify to assume that loan, right? They just don't fog a mirror. They like your house, they fog a mirror, they qualify for the loan. No, they have to qualify with the lender to take over that the existing loan balance. The benefits of that is that it's a lower payment to the buyer. A lot of times there's increased demand, not only for your property, which is already a gem, right? But also for that interest rate, which is just that gold star in the transaction. And there is the potential for a faster sale because there's more eyes on it, there's more interest, therefore, the transaction tends to go quicker. Fifth option would be seller financing. And for those of you who have been around a while, I would say what's old is new again, right? Seller financing popped up, I think, in the 80s, and certainly during the last market downturn changed. We certainly saw seller financing options available, and they've always been around. But when the market tends to slow down, we do see these options become available. And this is where the seller becomes the bank instead of having a third party institution. Instead of getting all of your cash up front, you receive payments over time. And the benefits of that are passive income. Who doesn't like mailbox money? All right. There is a higher pricing potential. There are more buyers because now folks who were unable to qualify through traditional means because maybe they're self-employed or maybe they're doing a career change, maybe they're relocating, maybe they have to sell their home out of state first before purchasing here. There's a number of scenarios why someone may need seller financing or may opt to do seller financing instead of traditional conventional FHA VA loans. So this opens up your property to the potential for more buyers, right? Now, this is best for homes with high equity or homes that are owned free and clear. Another piece of that would be the rent to own scenario, right? And it is great for buyers who just need time. They need time to fix credits. They have the benefits of that are income now, sale later. And it gives the option you're collecting rent now, but then there's the option to buy at a later date 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 5 years. Whatever is negotiated, but it's always important to discuss what that exit strategy is upfront. And then it's also important, Mr. or Mrs. Home Seller, to understand what the tax implications, if any, exist with this type of sale. With a seller financing scenario, rent to own financing, a wrap, always important to obtain third party professional guidance regarding those types of transactions. We also have the auction style selling, which this option creates urgency in a transaction. High demand, competitive bidding, short marketing window, and it's best for unique properties and areas with strong demand. Maybe it's near an popular employment corridor or a large employer, a very popular area in town. That may be your best option to try that auction style selling. So while we have your attention tonight, I want to address some common mistakes that we see in our marketplace, right? Just quickly. And let's take a yes, some common mistakes that we see in our marketplace. Let's talk about what not to do when selling your home. One of those biggest mistakes would be waiting too long to make a move, right? You know, these days, a lot of people are fearful. They're not exactly sure what to do next, what's coming next down the pike. And that sort of has people frozen in their decision making process. And that can harm you a lot of times because life is constantly moving. Our market is moving. You have to take a look at what your overall needs are, what your timings are, and based on that, if now is the right time for you to make a move or not. Not to ignore market conditions, but to really assess the situation and understand whether it's time to move now or it's time to wait. All right. And be sure about that decision, feel good about that decision, and move on with other aspects of your life. Another mistake would be choosing the wrong strategy. Okay. You want to do seller financing just for as an example, but you have too much, you don't have enough equity in your home. So now we have a situation where, you're doing this and you're not realizing any sort of gain in that scenario. You just have a third party just basically paying your mortgage, and there's always the potential that it could trigger some sort of due on sale clause, particularly if it's an FHA or VA loan, and some outside parties aren't aware. It can get a little tricky, can get a little hairy, right? And we don't like hairy. Okay, we like things to be fairly smooth with regards to real estate, right? We want to choose the right person in that particular scenario, have them be properly vetted, assess their ability to pay, the ability to pay the note, and move on. Not to be worried about the situation the whole time. So it's important to uh, understand the strategies that are available and see which one makes the most sense for you. A big mistake as well is overpricing the home. Okay, you have to take a look at what the value is, what the upgrades are, what has happened in your area as far as recent sales, and come to terms with what the property is worth today. Have it sit on the market for a length of time with no action and no activity. It harms you greatly, especially if you're serious about making a move. So don't ignore timing, don't ignore market conditions, don't use the wrong strategy, don't overprice your home, and deal with a professional. All right, in these types of situations, this market calls for professionals. Now, how do you maximize your home value? Proper preparation. All right, make sure you pay attention to curb appeal. Make sure you tantalize the senses of that potential buyer when they come to your home, not just online, but when they get there in person, when they drive up to the property. Make sure things are clear and clean in the front. Make sure they don't smell garbage, dirty dishes, see dishes in the sink, things of that nature. Smell laundry, smell your old shoes or whatever. We live in our homes, okay, and that's understandable. But we want a person to picture themselves there. You don't come with the house, okay? They're moving into that space to make it their own. So let's make it as much of a blank slate as possible. Maximizing value is also doing strategic pricing, strong marketing, and choosing the right selling method for you, your area, because real estate again is hyper local. And not every home should be sold the same way. All right. This cookie cutter selling method, it doesn't work. And which is why we see increased cancellations. Now, if you need to sell quickly, whatever your situation may be, your options are cash offer plus, cash offer plus repairs, creative financing, and targeted marketing. You have more control over the situation than you think. Now, here's what I would like to do for you. I do offer a free home seller strategy session. And in that session, you'll get your home value analysis, net sheet, so you understand what you walk away with, market timing strategy. We go over cash offers if you are interested in obtaining those and seeing what that looks like for your particular situation, and personalized selling options. No pressure, just clarity. Okay. If you even thinking about selling your home this year, next year, the worst thing you can do is guess as to where things stand. The best thing you can do is to understand your options. So go ahead, schedule that free consultation or request that cash offer. I'll be sure to drop the link in here for you. And unless we have any questions, that's a wrap. That's a wrap for tonight. Let's do this. Mm, yes. Yes. Great. Well, folks, short but sweet. I thank you for tuning in. If I can be of assistance to you at any point in time, I encourage you to reach out. I'll put my phone number here for you as well. And you have a wonderful evening. Ta ta for now.